Good day to those listening and those watching. I am not a Kovinich, and with me is Garrett Pedlar. Today, we are your small town realtor podcast. Make sure to like, follow, share this episode, and of course, drop us a comment on your takeaways from the episode. We appreciate you being here and hope you enjoyed this episode. Hello, everyone. We have a great episode in store for you today. We are going to talk about the first 5 years in real estate. Now, if you're a newer agent or if you're an experienced agent, you know what it's like to go through those first 5 years, and it can be probably the hardest part of this career. You're making the decision whether you want to stay, whether you want to go. And the money that you thought was fast money is not happening. It is a difficult career to get going. And we're going to go into the details of what it was like for us and some tips and tricks that we have for you so that you can get going in your first 5 years. And even if you're an experienced agent, some of these tips and tricks might help you out, especially if you're having a little bit of that slower time right now. So listen in on this. We're going to help you get through those first 5 years. And if you're in that lull, we are here to help you, because that is just like going into those first years of business where you kind of hit a lull. We've all hit it. I still every once in a while panic. So you're not alone. So let's talk about it. First 5 years in business, Garrett, what were they like for you?
Certainly different for everybody. And I think the real estate career choice has this outsider looking in perspective that it's easy money, set your own schedule, all the freedom in the world. And I think those who succeed in this business and survive past 5 years learn very quickly that is not the case. For myself, I'm so grateful to have a mentor in my father, and being able to lean on him when I had questions, being able to follow him around. Though I learned tremendous amount of knowledge in those first 2 years, exposing yourself to as much as possible. And no two scenarios in this industry are the same. No two buyer and seller combinations are the same. No two houses in most of your small town markets are the same. So it's just exposing yourself to as many different scenarios as possible, as quickly as possible. I think Selling Sunset is always my show I bring up, where, they show it off as this, dressed up in suits and Porsches and, Land Rovers, whatever the heck, everything's sparkling and beautiful and there's drama, and that is so far from the truth, from reality. What's reality? Well, being dirty. Sometimes it's digging up a septic tank. Sometimes it's picking up furniture and helping somebody move things around for photos. Sweeping up the garage to clean it up. There's so many times that Selling Sunset just totally it's a joke. And I think most of us I would imagine the brunt of people that actually watch that show are not in the business. Because once you're in the business, you go, that's not real at all. I can't expose myself to that, or else I'm going to keep with this tunnel vision of what's not real.
For sure. And I mean, the first 5 years you're getting into this business thinking, when I started, I'll be honest, there was no glamorous side of it. I was 21. I know I say it over and over again, dropped out of university, dropped out of college. All right, I'm going to become a real estate agent. Back then, the average age, I think, was like 60 for a real estate agent. So it wasn't very common, but I thought the agents I had seen, they were driving around in Lexuses. They were driving around, in Cadillacs. They were driving around in these nice vehicles. And I thought, I can do this. How hard can it be? They sell houses. How difficult can that actually be? Well, I was 100% wrong. And I got hit like a bus when I got into this business. My first year, I think I sold maybe 4 houses. It was a complete struggle. I was trying to work a full kind of full-time job while selling houses, which I learned very quickly was my number one mistake. I don't think you can have a job and sell houses, because the minute you have the security of another job and another income, you're not as focused on building your business. And this is a business. This is not a side hustle. If you get into real estate thinking it's your side hustle, it's not. You need to be completely focused on it. And all of a sudden, come year 3, I'm starting to get some traction, but I'm just not hitting it the way that I expected to. And I started to apply for other jobs. And there was someone who said to me, no, we'll hire you, but this isn't the job for you. Real estate's your career, stick to it. So I will tell anyone out there who is currently sitting there going, should I keep going? If you are putting 100% into this business and you are trying absolutely everything, it hits. It just hits. I can't tell you why or how. I've even had agents who have started to slow down for some reason. They're not getting traction again, and they're slowing down. They're not busy. And I'll say to them, okay, what did you do today to work on your business? Not in your business, on your business. And they'll tell me, oh, well, I went through and saw what my leads were doing or whatever. I said, no, go out there, I don't say knock on doors, but go meet people, go out in the public, go talk to people. If you feel like you're working on your business by being out in public and talking to people, your business all of a sudden starts to grow. But in that first 5 years, it is killer to try and make your business go. So don't expect to get into this thinking I am going to immediately make money into it. You're going to have to work those extra long hours to try and make it happen. And it will, if you work really hard at it, you will hit traction with it. And find a mentor. Like Garrett, you said you had your dad is a great mentor. Find a mentor, stick to that person like glue, and those little things will really help you, because they're going to be able to pass off some leads to you to help you get a little more traction in your business.
Well, and I think you only have 100% of energy and 100% of knowledge. The glass is full of water. And if you put 20%, 40% of that into this other job, whether that's serving or whatever the other job is, how can you expect 100% of results when you don't put 100% into it? So it's really diving in, 2 hands, 2 feet first, whatever you want to say. And, in school, they tell you, don't expect one deal for 2 years. Don't expect any money for 2 years. And they're trying to set you up financially to understand getting into this industry. Make sure you're financially equipped to survive 2 years without any money. So I think a lot of people getting into the industry can be really hard on themselves. Oh, first year, I just did 1 or 2 deals. I mean, the veteran, longtime agent knows that, most buyers take 2 to 3, 4 months to buy a house. And then it's a 2-3 month close. So, just off the hop, not knowing anybody, you're definitely looking at a 6-7 month out before you can realistically get that first deal in. So don't beat yourself up. And, I think, we need to go back. And I think the true and tried, like, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here as real estate agents, is look at what has worked for many years for real estate agents. And, I think a big thing is, we've gotten away, a lot of these real estate brokerages that survive online only. And, you need to get into the office. If you're at home, there's so many deterrents to take you away from real estate. And I don't care if you say, I can focus on my work when I'm at home. There's 1,000 things that can take you away from not thinking about real estate. You get in that office, every conversation you hear is going to be about real estate. And that's what keeps you on the ball, keeps hearing the terminology, and especially in those first couple, 3, 4, 5 years, constantly being dived in and all around the globe of real estate terminology and real estate lingo, whatever, and hearing people and seeing people, writing offers. That's the motivation that is going to keep you running in those first 5 years.
For sure. I definitely agree with you on that, Garrett. I think we've kind of lost this coming into the office. part of this business is, everyone can work from home. We're now doing DocuSign. We're now using our laptops for absolutely everything, which has given us a little bit more flexibility. I mean, I remember getting into this and having 7 deals on the go and just running to do counter offers from place to place to place. So yeah, it's given us a little bit more flexibility, but getting into the office, I think a key thing about being in there as well is you're around the agents who are successful a lot of the times. So it's a huge motivator because you're seeing what they're doing. You're seeing them run in and out. And when you're around those successful agents, if they don't have a team or somebody that they're mentoring, and you're sitting in on the office and they've got 8 properties to show that day, they might throw you a lead. They might say to you, listen, I've got other things I really could be focusing on right now. Could you go show this house for me? I mean, take those opportunities. Or could you do the open house for me on the weekend? I don't want to, I've done 75 million open houses. I don't want to do another open house. Are you available to do the open house? That's where you're going to pick up those extra things. Also, when you're in the office, it can be a little difficult when you see those successful agents doing very well. And you might feel to yourself, oh my gosh, what am I doing wrong? Why are they so busy? Don't forget that they have years and years and years of experience. They've built up that black book. They've lived in the office. They've done the grind. So sitting around those people can motivate you, and they can also help you to get those different leads. I mean, real estate can be probably, if you're not on a team and you're doing it alone, it can be the loneliest business out there. You feel very alone. You feel like there's no one to talk to. Coming in with the other agents, you have the ability to talk to people who have experienced what you're experiencing. Don't be the know-it-all agent, because that's where you're going to fail. Be the agent that wants to be the sponge. Sit in there and just listen. You don't need to make comments, just listen to what everyone has to say, because that's where you're going to take everything in, be able to build yourself up and build a business. I say that not just for the agents that are starting out. There's some agents, again, where you're hitting that lull, you're coming down, you've maybe had something in your life that is tragic happen, or maybe you've had kids or whatever, and it slowed you down. Well, coming back into the office will help you build that business back up again, because this business can break you mentally in so many different ways, because we don't have consistent hours. You might think to yourself, in this time of year, so we're in the spring market right now, Garrett and I, and we were just talking earlier, we're running right now. And, it's long hours, it's nights, weekends, everything. And then January hits. And I've had some great Januaries, but let's say the majority of them, January hits, and all of a sudden you've got nothing happening. So instead of crawling into your hole, into your blanket, and burrowing in your bed, this is when you have to build yourself up for the spring market. So get yourself back out to the office, get around those people. I know we're really pushing the office thing, but I do think that that's a huge aspect when you're just building. Get out in public and be around people, because it can be a little bit difficult.
Absolutely, Nada. And when you're new, it is hard. Any career choice that you get into that's new, it's always going to be hard, and real estate is definitely no different. This is where I come to and a lot of new agents, I was one of them. I was in real estate. I didn't own my own house. So the concept of not owning your own house, but you're selling other people's houses, you're going to have pushback about that. And all I can say is know so much and be such a wealth of knowledge on things that you don't need to own a house to know, that that question doesn't even come up. Or if it does, at least a part of their brain can say, well, he has an answer for everything. And actually, knows what he's talking about, or she knows what she's talking about, whether that's, plumbing facets or electrical facets, just diving into, different styles of homes, and, just making your wealth of knowledge so great that somebody might ask you, do you own your own house? But you got all this knowledge to back it up. I think that's how you can tackle it. It's, hey, in reality, the average age, I think now is like 38 for their first home. Maybe have that in your back pocket too. You know, I'm 22 and the average age for a home buyer is 38. So I got a few years to go, but in the meantime, I promise you, I got you all the answers. And if I can't figure it out, I will figure it out one way or another. You know, and in this social media world too, I think a lot of people getting in think I need to be some social media personality and get, you know, doing videos and all that good stuff. I mean, it definitely works for some people, but I really never got into it until a couple of years ago. You know, I'm in an older area. My team lead, my dad, didn't, you know, see a need as that of importance. And so I took that on a couple of years ago and really dived into it. And, you know, so you don't need to, you know, to be the king of, or queen of everything right off the hop. It's, you know, I'd focus on a couple things and do those things really well. And I think that's going to get you a lot farther than trying to spread your wings and tackle every facet that you see out there.
I completely agree with you right there, Garrett. I think that's probably one of the most important things. Be on social media for sure. We're both, you know, we really represent our brands on social media, but that's not going, you will get business from it, but it's not going to be the main reason you build your business, especially in a small town. It's about building those relationships. I know we've had a whole podcast on building the relationships, but that is key. You need to, as you're coming into this, you need to build the relationships and not just with, potential clients. Build the relationship with the agents, because those again are the ones that are going to help you out. If you make a mistake, I mean, I just saw one of the agents in our office accidentally put a property through our matrix system incorrectly. And I gave him a call and I said, hey, you know, I noticed that this went through like ABC. You should have had it as XYZ. You know, I don't want to be that person that calls you, but I figured I'd call you to help you out before you get somebody else. Be that person, you know. So if you build those relationships with people are going to be so much happier to help you out and come to you and say, hey, by the way, I noticed on your offer, you put the title search date is only a couple days before closing. Can I teach you a little bit about when you should be putting your title search date? If you're building the relationships with agents, they're going to be more likely to help you out when you're doing a deal with them. And in a small town, you'll be doing deals with these agents over and over and over. So don't let ego come into that. When you're starting out and you're dealing with an agent that is experienced, don't come in with a strong ego. Be poised. Take everything in as a sponge. A lot of the time when those agents are in there trying to help you out to help you out with the little mistakes that might happen in an offer or something like that, they're not doing it to come after you. They're doing it to help you. So make sure you're building those relationships in your city and with the agents as well.
Absolutely. And I think it can come off as, oh, you know, they are being arrogant or whatever. They've been doing it for so long. They're truly just trying to help you, tell you what's right. You know, maybe after doing a couple deals with them and you still get this arrogant side, okay, maybe then there's something to it. But just, you know, trying to help you out. Like, I mean, not everybody, you know, we deal with a lot of people. And so, and it's, hey, you know, a simple thing, don't let that get to you. And, you know, what's my version of what gets you through it? I really, you know, treating this like a business. It is a business. You own, you know, you're collecting HST, you got bills to pay, you got hours, set hours and that kind of stuff. And you're going to work outside of those set hours. Trust me. But I think it comes down to consistency, routine, having systems in place, and really from day one, treating it like a business. You know, showing up and answering calls. You know, you set your own hours, however dedicated to this business you want to be. But, you know, being able to always be consistent, getting back to it's simple things. You know, I think people always try and complicate this. And I think you look at, you know, what are the tried and true things working? like Nada says, it's being seen, getting out in the public. The grocery store effect. Get out there and get your groceries in person. Go to the community events and really have a routine and show up at the office and, make your calls, touching base with your sellers weekly, or, touching base with your buyers weekly. Like, make a routine of this. Don't just wait for things to come on in. Be advantageous, working on your systems, and creating that database of your inner circle. What's Brian Buffini call it, Nada? Your mentor.
Oh God, I'm never good at these ones.
But yeah, consistency, routine, and and maybe that routine is, I know some teams, each week, each one of them has a day off. And it's do not call them, that's their day to do them. And they take, turns. One day is one person's Tuesday, another a Wednesday, having that routine and sticking to it. And I think, and everybody knows a restaurant in their small town that they don't know their hours. Nobody goes to that restaurant. And there's a reason, is having that consistency that when someone calls you on Wednesday at 2 p.m., they know you're somewhere around, and if you don't answer, you're going to call them right back. So, being consistent, routine, these aren't mind-boggling principles. These are just tried and true principles.
So the next topic we had was, what was my turning point? And I don't think I've hit that part. I've been in it for 18 years and I would never do anything else, but there is no turning point. I can't, and someone told me this, the minute that you don't feel anxious when the business starts to slow down, then you probably shouldn't be doing the business any longer. And even though, whether you're at a stage financially or you're at a stage where you felt like you've built this business, you're still going to panic. January still comes around and there are moments where I'm like, am I ever going to sell another house? I mean, we sold over hundreds of houses last year, and I still walk in going, oh my God, it's January, it's so quiet, my phone's not ringing, I'm not going to list anything, nobody wants to list with me. So I don't think there's a point where you ever lose that aspect of it. And I think that's actually probably the biggest motivator, because when I hit January and I feel all of that pressure of, oh my gosh, we're slowing down, the market isn't super fast, I'm not selling a ton of houses, or sometimes I hit January and it's wild, most unpredictable business you're ever going to be in. You never know when you're going to be busy. Book a trip, have a baby, any of those things, that's when you're going to be the busiest. But I don't think it ever goes away of this turning point of a comfort level with it. I don't think you ever sit there and go, oh, it's okay, it's January. I love to tell my agents, I hope they're not listening to this part, but I love to tell my agents that it's fine, it's January, don't worry about it, it's totally okay. Meanwhile, I'm in the background in a panic, sweating, trying to figure out how we're going to find the next deal. But in that moment, it's what you do with it. So it's whether you sit back and just panic, or whether you start figuring out, what am I doing to market myself for the spring market? It's January. I need to start now. I need to be out there. I need to be, if I'm going to be doing an event, if I'm going to be doing some type of community pop by, if we're going to talk Buffini, pop buys is one of the things Buffini recommended. What am I going to be doing to build myself up for the spring market? Again, this is working on your business, not in your business. So you need to be building in those moments where you're panicking, where you're not getting the deals, where things aren't happening. And sometimes that's not just January. That can be June. That can be August. That can be November. Like, it can be any time. I mean, even when it's the spring market, that doesn't always mean you're the busiest agent out there, because you might have had a super busy January, which leads into a quieter, maybe spring market for you. You just don't know. So when you feel that panic and you start to say to yourself, oh my gosh, I'm not getting any leads, that's when you're supposed to be working on your business. That's when you're taking those hours. You treat it like a business. You treat it like a job. You don't go shopping and do all these things and take a break. No, you sit there, you grind, you focus, and you try and build your business back up for the next part of the market that it's going to be coming into.
Well, I think the funnest mental game is, I mean, if you don't have deals are usually 60 to 90 days out for closings. So if you say I'm going to take a month off in December and I'm going to go to Costa Rica, you're now in 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. Like, unfortunately, this business doesn't allow you to take off. And the beautiful thing of technology, you can be in Costa Rica still making calls. You can be in Florida making calls. So I'm not saying you can't get away, but if you're going to do those longer, I mean, I'm super jealous of those who can get away for 2, 3, 4 months, and but they go away and they're still working. They're answering their phones. They're making sure, depending on your time zone, that they're up 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. so they can answer calls. And obviously most of these would be like team leads because they know they have a trusted source to help them for in-person stuff. I think what some of the coolest things that have come in the last 10, 15 years of real estate is the concept of a team didn't exist with, 20, 30, 40 years ago. And Nada said it, it can be one of the loneliest industries because for years it was just solo agents doing their own thing, trying to carve their own path. I think what's awesome, and unfortunately, a lot of people quit before it really could have worked. And with the idea of teams today, I can't nail it enough, is join a team, because the quicker you can expose yourself to 50, 100, offer negotiations, or 50 or 100 showings, and 50 or 100 open houses, or 50 or 100 listing presentations, the quicker you are going to find your confidence in the industry. And joining a team is the absolute best method, I think, for everybody. Now, maybe you go solo after 5, 6, 10 years, whatever. Or maybe, I think, starting on a team, the quicker you can expose yourself to as many scenarios is the quicker you find the confidence, not fake confidence, real confidence, and can actually talk the talk and walk the walk. As much as it's picking the right brokerage, a lot of brokerages have great in-house support systems and, a lot of learning sessions and all that. But having a team that, and whether that team is the actual team lead with a few agents or a team is your brokerage and they're smaller and tight knit and what have you. But, having that support network that you trust and can talk to the nth extent, you're not worried about judgment. I think that is so incredibly important, and that will stop you from quitting before it truly could have worked.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that. Team. I mean, as a team lead, we sit down weekly with our agents and we say, what keeps you up at night? What are you stressing about? How are you generating? Okay, here's what you should be doing this week. This is what you should be doing next week. All of those things to help build our agents. We're providing leads, all of that stuff. But on the side note, I think, if I was going to give advice to a new agent, and I just sat down with one who's about to take her course and she's super excited and she's on the fence. And I think she walked out of the meeting going, oh my God, what am I getting into? And you should. Honestly, getting into this business, you should feel scared. You should, because it is a scary business. I actually said to her, you're going to get spit up, chewed, spit out, picked back up, chewed again, spit back out, and it's going to happen to you 3-4 times until you get the biggest backbone possible, and you stand taller, you're more confident, you present yourself better. And it is key in this business, because you have to get spit. I've been spit up, chewed up, beat up, hit, not actually hit, but you go into this and it humbles you in so many ways. It teaches you to lose the ego. It teaches you how to be more confident. It teaches you how to talk to people. It teaches you how to fire people. It's a really difficult business. So you're not walking into Selling Sunset. I love the show though, Garrett. You said that if agents are real agents, don't watch it. Women do. Okay. Maybe not you, but we love the argument. We love the drama. And we actually have a group chat for it. So with a bunch of agents. And so, but it isn't Selling Sunset. This is not the reality. You're not coming in. You're not selling a $9 million house. You're probably in my market selling $300,000 house and you're super excited about it. So you're going to, there's going to be, if you're not waking up in the morning, second guessing why you're in this business, you probably shouldn't be in it because you're not worried about building it. So if you are waking up in the morning and you are panicking, you're in a great spot. The stress level is high. You're going to build this business and you're going to be successful in it. So I think the no fluff part of this is be ready. It's hard. It's not an easy, if you want an easy job, go into a 9 to 5 where it's predictable. You get your paycheck at the end of the week, you walk out, bing, bang, boom, you're done. But if you want something that can be the most rewarding, but also the most difficult thing you're ever going to do, get into this business, because it really, when you see a family buy their dream house, and I mean, it doesn't have to be a $1 million house, and it doesn't have to be, it can even be a $300,000 house or less. But when you see that family walk in and they buy that house, and you see how proud they are of it and everything that comes with this, it is the most, and the kids finding their rooms, all of those things. Of course, as a mom, that's where I go. But I'm telling you, it's the most rewarding thing. But be ready to be chewed up, spit out, back chewed up, spit back out. And when you get to the end of that and your backbone's built and you're ready to go, it's probably the most amazing business that you can ever be in.
Totally agree. And, I had a really cool moment there yesterday. It was a gentleman, I sold his house last year, and he came in and just wanted to check in and just let me know, like, he said, I didn't really tell you when I was selling your house, but I was going through some health stuff and high stress was not good for me. He says, it's a year out. He's like, I can't thank you enough. And, my health's back, my heart rate's down. And, it's those moments that you're like, okay, this is why we do what we do. We are truly helping people, whether in the moment, because it can be such a high stress, anxiety moment that people can maybe forget to say, hey, thank you. And so it might take a year for them to come in and say it. But it's those moments that, you're doing the right thing and you're in the right industry. I always come back to it. Don't reinvent the wheel. Don't think you're going to come into this industry and reinvent the wheel. Try, if you want to polish some things, absolutely. Carve your own little side paths for sure. But, when you're getting started, these, real estate didn't just start 5 years ago. It's been around for 50, 60 years. There is tried and true things that many professionals have used the exact same platform. And so really lean in on those things that the older, more experienced agents are saying, and do those. And once those things are working, hey, if you want to polish some things and make it your little path, for sure. So I come back to, being seen, find a good level of confidence, and I think you'll be just fine. And make sure you put 100% of you into it so you get 100% results.
All right, Garrett. So let's kind of close this out for today. Our takeaways. Actually, one thing we mentioned a little bit, but programs like Buffini, get involved with one like that. It'll teach you a lot about how to get leads. 2, find yourself a mentor, get somewhere with a team lead. Set up a routine. Routine is key. There's no routine in this business. Waking up, have an alarm for that. Set yourself up for your goals on your day, on what you want to get done and what you want to achieve. Get onto a team, mentorship, team lead, whatever it might be. Get yourself in the office and build community. Build your partnerships with people in your community. Finally, be ready to be chewed up, spit out, chewed back up, and build the backbone. You'll get a confidence level that you've never had before. And it's a special career if you're willing to get through these really difficult first 5 years. But if you get through those first 5 years, I'm telling you, even the first 3 years, but magical things can happen. So stick by it. And I'm telling you, listen to our podcast. Obviously, that's going to help you as well. But stick by this career. And if you have a comment or if you really like this episode, make sure you like it, share it with your other friends that are just getting into the business as well. And we'll have more episodes for you coming in the next 2 weeks.